Welcome, everybody, to the Real Marks of Long Island, the Quick Count, with our boy, Fog Jones. Foggy, how are you doing this week? What's going on, my brother?
Good, man. Hey, good. Glad to be here. How you doing today?
Doing great.
Awesome.
Just enjoying this Sunday, waiting for my wife to come home from work, and then we're going to go out. We're going to go have family dinner with my in-laws, just living life. But this is going to be a quick count. So we are timing it. We're trying to get
the first real one.
Yes, the first real quick count. We're going to keep it to 20 minutes. Obviously, I think we have to start off with the big unfortunate news that happens in the world of professional wrestling. When you're bringing wrestlers in, unfortunately, the way it goes is sometimes you have to let people go. And it is unfortunate, but we do have a long list here, a crazy list. So what I'll do is I'll run through the list, and then we'll just kind of discuss what we're feeling. So good. All announced, Cody Rhodes, our guy, PWN, kind of put something out that, unfortunately,
he was trying to get everyone ready. He was trying to get everyone mentally prepared for this, and
So he said something the night before, saying, unfortunately, when you bring people in, it's the way of the business. It happens. It's unfortunate. It sucks. It's terrible, but it's the way of the roads. So then the next day we start getting the list dropped. So for the main roster, we have seen that Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance have all been released. And then the NXT releases are Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan, Eddie Thorpe, Jakara Jackson, Riley Osborne, Gallus, which is Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang, Oro Mensa, Javier Bernal, and Danny Palmer. So I was out to dinner for my dad's birthday, and you texted me, and you said, it's happening. And I was like, uh-oh.
I couldn't believe you weren't texting me. I was like, what could you be doing?
I was out to dinner with my family, and you're like, oh, we got to talk about the releases. And I was like, uh-oh, they're happening.
Excuse
and you're
me?
Like, yeah. I was like, shit. But so instant first reactions on the list.
Yeah, I mean, it's a business, right? And I think one of the big things that we learn here with this business, especially like I'll point out Braun Strowman for an example, is times change. I would say the two big examples here are Braun Strowman and Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross was not released this time. However, as a great example, here's someone who was released, was brought back, not totally sure what was going to happen with him and his character. And now look what's happening with him and his character. He's blowing up. Like, pretty wild to see what's happening here. And there's a lot. You and I spoke about this via text, but like, you have the factors of age, you have the factors of getting over, and we don't know their salaries. We can guess. You can look them up, and you might get a pretty good guess on that. But there comes a time where you run a business, you have products, and those products aren't selling, and you just don't carry them anymore, or you're having lots of recalls on those products, and we can guess, right? And I think that's what we're going to do here. But I will say, for the sake of this discussion, my big three shocking releases, and I feel like they usually do like one or two shocking releases, but I'd say Braun Strowman, Dakota Kai, and Cora Jade were probably the three big shockers. What about you? What are your thoughts?
So it's interesting. Braun actually didn't shock me as much.
Okay.
We've seen it happen with Braun, unfortunately. When you're a man of that stature, like Ty has kind of hit it on the head when we bring him up on the hour show. Is when you're a man of that stature, it's kind of tough to put you against these other superstars and have you constantly losing, because it takes away from your size. Like, he's supposed to be a monster. He's a monster among men. And now that you have, he did a great job with Bronson Reed. I thought he did a great job with Jacob Fatu getting them over, but the promo skills really aren't there. So where's the mic work? And now that you have Jeff Cobb potentially coming in, so he's a big boy. You have Jacob Fatu. You have Bronson Reed. You have Omos, who's still just where,
still there.
He's still there, but
still gets paid.
To me, you can only have so many big men. And Braun was a great worker. Like, he worked he worked his ass off. You could tell. He went through some injuries. But like you said, age could be a factor. Like you said, salary. I think the base is like 300,000 for a main roster talent now.
Yeah,
so,
and that's for a new person, right?
Yeah,
and that's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money to just bench somebody, for lack of a better term. And to your point, Braun Strowman, I guess the reason why Braun Strowman shocks me is because of the Wyatt Six. However, he's gotten injured, I think, twice since his return to the main roster. And not that that's a reason to release someone. I mean, I feel for them, and I sure hope he's been taken care of and his health is getting in better order. But I think he got a pretty serious neck injury recently. I know he did an interview with Chris Van Vliet where he mentioned something like that. So it could be that. But I think, like I said, the reason that I was a little shocked is he's great at putting people over. And then you have the Wyatt Six element, which all of them are still here. So I'm kind of surprised you didn't see, let's move him towards that story. But again, we don't know if he was getting paid like $2 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're probably like, a lot of money. We don't need them that bad.
It's a lot.
Wyatt Six will be fine without that.
And we've said, like, I agree with you. The only right next move would have been to have him go with the Wyatt Six, just because of the history that he has there. But who knows what's next for Braun Strowman? He is up there in age. Maybe he just sails off into the sunset. I know he was just in the Bahamas, so I know he's
going to be fine.
Yeah,
I think he's made a lot of money. He was even sporting the idea of running his own promotion and stuff. I mean, you don't even think about that stuff if you're not some form of a multimillionaire, I would imagine. And I would hope. I think he's a cool dude. Adam Scher, he is fun to follow. He seems like a really cool guy. I wish him the best. I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe came back here and there, like a Rumble appearance or something like that, but we'll see. We got 3 minutes, so you want to talk Dakota Kai? I think that was probably the biggest shock from the main roster, right?
Yeah, so my three real quick: Dakota Kai, Cora Jade, and Gigi Dolan. Those were my three shocks. But Dakota Kai, I thought she should have won the Intercontinental Championship. I thought she had a great comeback story. She came back from some brutal knee injuries.
Yes.
She's just another one that was unfortunately unlucky with the injuries, but then the whole damage control thing, and then I think Asuka getting hurt, I think it kind of derailed everything. And then unfortunately this is round two with her.
That's another
unfortunately
tricky thing. We talk age and then we talk injury, and then you just mentioned Asuka. So Dakota Kai is 36. Asuka's older than I'm not sure Asuka's age. I only know Dakota Kai's age because I thought she was like 26. Mm-hmm. And I was messaging actually Nightwolf on the PWN server, and I was like, Cora and Dakota, they're kids. I think Cora Jade's like 23, 4. And he's like, oh, no, Dakota's not as young as Cora. I'm like, really? And so I had to look it up. I'm like, oh, wow. Because she looks young, man. But so it's like, it's tough to say, like, the injury thing, yet you've got all these other superstars out on injury. I mean, we're talking the Wyatt Six, and Bo Dallas was apparently injured. So like, it's kind of hard to do. You see people on the internet, they want to be like, oh, she's injury prone. It's like, yeah, but there's all these other people that are injured that are out. Like, they didn't get released. So Dakota Kai, I think, shocks me because the fans are behind her, especially the internet fans. They're really behind her. Like you said, kind of shocked she didn't win the IC title, but apparently this is why. So I don't know. I think you could see her back too. I think so. And then I think it shocked a lot of people because, again, Damage Control was believed to kind of maybe sort of be coming back. So yeah. And then Cora Jade, man, 24, something like that. Okay, is it injury prone again? For her, I'd say super young. And I would just be surprised that they wouldn't say, okay, if it's the injuries, why not give her a new regimen? Get her with like a different nutritionist and a different trainer, and maybe she just is training a little wrong, or maybe she needs like a different I mean, we when you start training and bodybuilding and stuff like that, or everyone has their own style. Like you watch like Randy Orton's Celtic Warrior workout versus like Seth Rollins. They're very different. Randy will even tell you he's doing all this lightweight and it's very just movement based. Seth Rollins is doing a lot of CrossFit. And then you have guys like Drew who are doing heavy. Everyone has a different, this is what works for them. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys, because of their injuries, they completely change their training, like Rey Mysterio, for example, with his knees. And anyway, we could go on and on. So I think Cora Jade, if I had to pick one, is the biggest shocker because it truly felt like she was going to be pushed as the future star of the women's division.
Yeah. And
you feel the same way?
To wrap it up, I completely agree with you. Cora Jade, I thought she was about to become the NXT Women's Champion until she got injured. I know she's going to bounce back. Just work the indies, work whatever you have fun. You will be back in WWE. That is the 10-minute mark. Everyone releases. It's unfortunately, but you're all going to bounce back if you're listening somehow. Just keep your head up, and we will see you back in no time. Yeah. Let's move on to SmackDown. We had a solid episode. I enjoyed this episode of SmackDown, and usually with the 3 hours, it sometimes it runs a little long. And it feels a little forced, but we had the returning Aleister Black against The Miz. Carmelo Hayes was at his side, obviously. I thought it was a fun match. I loved the Fade to Black. I loved how that worked. Yeah. And Aleister looks great.
Yeah, he said it, man. He said he's never put more, he thinks this is the best he's ever looked. I have to agree. The first thing I thought when I saw him was he's put on some muscle mass. He looks great. I saw one or two people say something about, it's concerning the fan response, blah, blah, blah. You know what, man? It's like the fans, you've got to give, you can't come up with a trend off of one or two things, right? You got to have like 10, 12. So if in like 3 months, no reaction, okay, maybe you can start that conversation, but you can't just be like, there's no reaction. First of all, he's got like this thing of this presence about him. It's just very dark and you got to kind of watch what's happening. So maybe they're just engulfed, just like Karrion Kross's entrance. Like you watch that entrance in awe, you know what I mean? You're kind of like, wow, this is crazy. So yeah, no, there's a lot going on. I mean, we've got the feud that we're after this we're in post WrestleMania mode, which it kind of feels like just scrambling what's going on. So you've got Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, and I say that with emphasis for a reason. And then who was the fourth one in that fatal four-way? Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Damian Priest, Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
So we're moving towards this, like, who is in that U.S. title picture now? With a fatal four-way, it's a little unclear. I don't think Drew belongs there, but I feel like they're just kind of giving him something before something else. So we had Pretty Deadly versus Fraxium. Love to see Fraxium, on the main roster. As you mentioned, Aleister Black versus The Miz. Great. Miz is one of the best people, in my opinion, to feud with if you're trying to kind of move some stuff with people. We have Zelina Vega with her women's United States Championship run, taking it from Chelsea. I'm sorry. No,
I love, by the way, I love that she came out in the all black. It looks like she's, just Chelsea is just a genius. Anyway, yeah. So Zelina wins. And I just had to get that in there.
Ray Phoenix and Santos Escobar. And then Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi and Nia Jax. And then I think they ended it. That was it, right? Wasn't that the main event?
They ended with Naomi coming back out, and it was like the little Jade and Tiffany had the little, they had the match, and then Jade took the title. She was looking at it, and then Naomi hit her from behind, and that's pretty much how the show ended, with Naomi holding up the world title. But I mean, we also had Randy Orton. That promo by Randy Orton was absolutely insane. It's just Randy. It's peak Randy Orton right now.
Yeah,
Randy knows how to build towards a match, and I'm excited for Orton versus Cena. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a predictable match, but it'll definitely be fun. Like you said, Randy Orton he's probably doing some of the best work of his career. I actually was not really a big Randy Orton fan until recently, and I don't know. You could just tell he's having fun, and I think he also has this appreciation for what he's got now that he had that fusion of his back, which is like such a risky surgery. But going back to what you said earlier, I mean, it was a really fun episode, and I think the big call out for me here is the fact that it's the SmackDown, or one of the second SmackDown after WrestleMania, and usually by this time there's a lot of this like fatigue for wrestling and people are just like, ugh. And I think they know that. I mean, they know that. And I think they really have done a great job with these shows to actually build more momentum, because the WrestleMania build was heavily critiqued, and people are kind of foreshadowing SummerSlam and going, man, SummerSlam looks like it's going to be better than WrestleMania. And I think WWE realizes, like, we can't be all predictable right now. We have to have a lot of shakeup. And so you have these Fatal 4 matches, you have these misdirect feuds. Like, we're looking at, like, it's just not, they're not doing what they usually do. And it's like, okay, Tiffany's next challenger is Jade Cargill, one-on-one feud, blah, blah, blah. It's like, who does Tiffany Stratton face at Backlash? It's probably gonna be a triple threat or fatal 4-way as well, right? What do you think?
The way it's looking, I mean, you can't get Naomi out of Jade Cargill's hair. So
yep,
Naomi wants the title, Jade wants the title. Looks like Nia wants the title. Who doesn't want the title at this point? So you're right. It could end up being a triple threat, fatal 4-way. Just try to get
or do they do a singles match for Tiffany's title, and then the other two, let's say they run Jade Naomi back, and then the winner gets the number 1 spot.
Could do that as well.
We'll see.
I'm pumped for SummerSlam. I looked at the tickets. Yeah. I know it's right. It's only 2 hours away from, the real marks of Long Island. So we're going to try to look into tickets. They're affordable right now. They're affordable.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Compared to WrestleMania, the 2 nights, like, cheapest all the way up top, unfortunately, but you can get in for both nights for under $200. Which is,
they did
beautiful.
Combo tickets here in Tampa. I think it was 4 events. It was like Saturday Night's Main Event, SmackDown. There was the NXT, PLE, and I think maybe a Raw. I can't remember. There was 3 or 4 nights, and the good seats were $200 and something. So for all that, like, combined, so you're going to go there 3 or 4 times for $200 plus. Granted, it's not SummerSlam. SummerSlam is probably the second most expensive next to WrestleMania, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it's all doom and gloom when it comes to the tickets like a lot of people want to believe. But yeah, so I mean, I think the big things here, we have to look, SummerSlam's coming up, but we're getting into Backlash, right? So we know we have the Fatal 4-way for the U.S. title. You pretty much know Jacob Fatu's winning, right? So yeah. We can talk about it or not. The tag team division is finally starting to truly heat up. You have Fraxium, who have just been like that shot of adrenaline.
Pat McAfee,
I would imagine
and Gunther.
What's that?
Pat McAfee and Gunther.
Hey, listen, and I think another great thing that we're looking at here is you have a lot of these Backlash matches that are kind of weird, like who's going to win, or it's going to happen, or it's just like they're just like Drew McIntyre in the U.S. title feud is like he's not supposed to be there, but they're just kind of what do we do? I don't think Jade Cargill wins the world title right now, so what do we do in the meantime? You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
But they're doing a great job, in my opinion, of making it still fun and worth watching. So do you think we get Aleister Black on this PLE?
I would love to see it. I just don't know. I mean, it's next week, I believe, right? I think it's in like a week. So
yeah,
I don't think we do. I think we still build towards whatever's going to happen next for him. I would love to see it, though. I'm not going to lie.
Now, what about Chelsea Green? Let's talk about Chelsea Green. We got a couple minutes left. Let's talk about that women's U.S. title.
So
Zelina captured it. Does she continue to hold it, or do you think Chelsea wins it? Personally, again, I'm going to say this again for the third and last time. I think a lot of these people are in a holding place until the next thing, and they're just kind of giving them something to do. And I think that's Chelsea, because I think the next step is Money in the Bank.
Yep.
So I think she completes her duty in the transfer of power with the U.S. title to Zelina, and then moves on to bigger and better things. I think she wins that Money in the Bank briefcase, and what a fun time that would be.
Yeah, she's going to get her second term, definitely, but it will not be with the United States Championship. Like you said,
world title.
She's going to be the next women's world champion, 100%. She deserves it. And that's going to be the greatest run ever. When she's the world champion. Imagine her just being the president in the U.S. Now she's the world. Get ready for world leader Chelsea Green. She's going to be coming out in different outfits every single week. Canada, Germany, USA, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
She's going to run it. She's going to kill it.
She's a special talent. She's got a brilliant mind, I think, for the business that a lot of people just kind of don't totally See?
Yep.
Yeah, I think in her case too, her with the Money in the Bank briefcase is going to be wildly entertaining. Like, I think that's just going to be like the things they can do.
Oh, absolutely. We are now running down. The shot clock is coming down. So thank you all for joining the quick count with Justin Starr and Fog Jones of PWN and the Real Marks of Long Island. Foggy, anything you want to say before we sign off?
No, let's keep this up. Keep up the quick count. We're going to have a lot of fun. We have a lot of new stuff that we're going to be rolling out here soon. We won't talk about it just yet, but we have some pretty big plans on the horizon that I am very excited about. So
stay tuned. Please like, rate, and subscribe, and we will see you all next week. Later.